We're talking about AI girlfriends, online dating.
What's ended up happening on these online dating apps is that a tiny percentage of men get the majority, the vast majority even, 80+% of matches go to like a tiny percentage. And the sadder part about this is that the bottom 50% of men on dating apps get literally zero matches.
No shit.
Zero. There's no matching that's happening. Sometimes the things that they validate end up being violent, whether it's suicide in the worst cases or school shootings or, whatever else.
Man, how common is this? We're talking about AI girlfriends, online dating, just all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, in the early days of AI companions, I started playing with all these apps just to get a sense for how they worked and how it felt as a user of the applications. And man, it was really dystopian. Like, you go into these weird relationships and you can dress the avatars in, lingerie, and they'll never disagree with you. Like pretty much anything you say, they're just going to echo back to you whatever it is that you want to hear. And they're very good at conversation. I mean, that's like kind of the best use case for LLMs is that it can just keep a conversation going forever and ever and ever. And I think as a society, we've been moving away from kind of traditional pairing, the way that people have gotten into relationships historically, which kind of worked in local communities. It was like, you met people at school or you met people at church or at the Elks Lodge or whatever it might have been. And by and large, like people were able to pair off and build families. But today, like the whole online dating trend has shifted that massively, where you're no longer looking at local communities. It's more of like a local maxima, like within 30 minutes or 45 minutes of where I live, what are the options? And it's like paralysis by analysis. Like, people are like, oh, there's always more fish in the sea. I can always go on more dates. There's always, more people out there that I need to meet before I settle down. And what's ended up happening on these online dating apps is that, a tiny percentage, I'll speak specifically about men, a tiny percentage of men get the majority, the vast majority even, 80+% of matches go to like a tiny percentage of generally like over 6'2", very physically attractive. It's hard to convey personality traits in a way that would have mattered in local communities. And the sadder part about this is that the bottom 50% of men on dating apps get literally zero matches.
No shit.
Zero. There's no matching that's happening. And I think like ultimately what that leads to is that you have all these people that are, unsatisfied in their jobs, unsatisfied in their relational life, and they become the powder keg of civilization.
Yeah.
You kind of create a class of incels that feels like they don't fit in. And I think we as a technology community have to take some ownership for this reality that we've given a whole chunk of society tools to enable these behaviors that lead to them being unhappy.
Yeah.
And I think AI companions are like that in a supercharged way, where now it's like, oh, I don't need to go through the stresses and difficulties of relationship. I can just, have a companion that's always there, that will never say anything negative. It's just going to be my own little world, and they're going to validate what I say. And sometimes the things that they validate end up being violent, whether it's suicide in the worst cases or school shootings or, whatever else.
Man, how common is this?
I think it's going to become more and more common. I think we've seen in recent years that there is a big shift towards singleness, that there's just not as many people that are getting married, or they're getting married much later. And obviously when you get married much later, you have fewer kids. There's like trickle down impacts of this. But like, from a societal political perspective, in 50 years, if these trends continue, like, America's a totally different place.
Yeah, being a tech guy, and you have two kids yourself.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that me and my wife go back and forth with all the time. Is we're trying. I mean, porn. So it's so easy to access now. Social media, all the predators and all the shit trying to lure kids in sexually through social media platforms. I mean, my friend Brian Montgomery says it best: when you give your kid a phone, you're not giving your kid access to the world, you're giving the world access to your kid. And so, a discussion that happens at my house a lot is, where are we gonna homeschool our kids? Are we gonna put them in a school somewhere? What are we gonna do? And what do we do about technology? Because on one hand, I feel like, me personally, you need to protect your kid, from the world and the access that they're going to get with some of the technology. On the other hand, it's like shit. I mean, you can't shelter him too much because then he's going to fall behind because the whole world is heading this way. It's already here. And
Right.
so I'm curious, and I don't know if you want to say the ages of your kids or not, but they're older than toddlers. And so how do you handle that with your wife? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we try to be really thoughtful about this. Our kids are 10 and 12. Our sort of policy on smartphone access and social media is that we're going to hold out for as long as we possibly can. And there are great examples, like the babysitter that they have had for the last few years. She just left for college, and she literally just got social media like before she went to college, and she's 18 years old. It's like it's possible to be cool and sociable and relational and smart and not subject yourself to that unnecessarily at too young of an age.
yeah.
And so I think that's kind of our policy with our kids, is to try to keep them in that zone for as long as we can.
So no smartphones.
No smartphones. I mean, they don't even have an Apple Watch yet, which I think you're starting to see that kind of happen with kids in that range where their parents don't want them to have access to social media, but they want them, to be reachable, textable, callable. We haven't even done that. They haven't demonstrated that they need it. And, you can see all sorts of sort of questionable behaviors that happen with kids when they, 8 years old, when they're the way that they use their iPads even. It's like, wow, these things are super addictive, and you can see it in kids in a kind of a supercharged way. Now, one of the things that we do that I love, I just did the second version of this, is when they turn 10, we go for a father-son road trip from San Francisco to Disneyland. And on the road trip, we listen to an audiobook about the birds and the bees. And we have a completely trapped environment where we're both looking forward at the road. He can't jump out of the car, and he has to sit through 7 hours of content about peer pressure and social media and pornography and the sex education. We do the whole thing. And so I just did that 2 weekends ago with my youngest, who just turned 10. It starts the conversation. And it's like, look, we're not going to hide this. We want to catch it early enough that you're not going to learn all this stuff from your friends. I'd much rather you learn it from me than you learn it from your friends. And we start trying to teach them through open dialogue about, these important topics that have the potential to literally ruin your life.
Yeah. What book is that? What book is it?
We use a program called Passport to Purity. That is really good. I feel like it's out of print because it was really hard to get the accompanying journal, but there was probably something comparable out there today.
Passport to what?
Purity.
I'm getting it.
It's really good. It's kind of corny at times, but it's really good.
I mean, it's got to be, right? For kids.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's not for kids, but
no, it's very much for 10-year-old kids. That's the framing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So they don't have no tablet.
They have an iPad, but the iPad is for travel.
Okay.
When we're on an airplane or something like that, they don't have like day-to-day privileges to screens.
When do you think you'll give it to them?
Our oldest, the 12-year-old, is using a laptop for school now.
Yeah.
But he's not playing games or anything on his laptop. He's just using it for school. I don't know the exact answer to the question, but the kind of dodging answer is I'm going to hold out as long as possible.
Yeah. Are you getting any pushback yet?
A little bit, but I think they also understand and appreciate how it's not good.
Oh,
I'll even, I'll hear my kids say things like, "Why are you using your phone?" Like they want me to put my phone away too. And, it's a good reminder. Like, yeah, if I'm going to have this rule that I believe that you shouldn't have it because it's bad for your brain, I'm not immune to that same critique. It's probably bad for my brain too.
Man, that's interesting. So So you have like no fear that your kids will miss out on, on that they'll be behind by not having a smartphone.
What are they going to miss out on? I can't
I
think
don't
of
know.
anything good
You know what I
that comes
mean?
out of
Just
this.
like iOS or, Windows back in the day. I mean, just knowing how to use it.
Oh no, I mean they're tech native. I mean the kids today, like you hand them an iPad and they just intuitively know how to use it. It's like I don't have to teach them how to do it. They're using laptops at school. They know how to type. They can navigate a Mac OS. They're fine. They're gonna be fine. But like I can't think of any positive things that they're missing out on by not having an iPhone in their pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. I love hearing it. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.